Dear Starseeds of Earth, there is something happening in your reality right now that most of you can feel but cannot yet name. In the last 48 hours, something fundamental has shifted in the fabric of your existence. And today, this very moment, as you receive this transmission, you are suspended in the most delicate and powerful phase of cosmic reconstruction that your planet has witnessed in decades. What I am about to share with you will help you understand why everything feels simultaneously broken and brand new, why you sense you are no longer who you were yet cannot quite grasp who you are becoming, and why the ground beneath your consciousness feels like it is still trembling with aftershocks from an earthquake you barely survived. But before I go deeper into what is unfolding in your energy field right now, you need to understand something crucial about the cosmic event that just occurred. 2 days ago, on the 20th of November, your planet experienced what we in the higher realms call a death portal, a Scorpio new moon that arrived not at any ordinary degree, but at 28 degrees, the final degree of the sign of transformation itself. This was not simply another new moon. This was the completion of an entire cycle of death and rebirth that your collective consciousness has been moving through for months. And it happened at the exact same moment that Mercury, the messenger planet currently in retrograde, reached what astrologers call inferior conjunction, the deepest, darkest point of its backward journey, when it aligns directly between your Earth and the Sun. I am Seraphine, an emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I am speaking to you today because we have been watching the convergence that just took place in your skies, and we need you to understand that what you experienced was not random chaos. It was precision cosmic surgery. Let me paint the picture for you of what actually happened in the invisible realms while you were going through the confusion and intensity of these past few days. On November 20th, as that Scorpio new moon activated at the final degree of transformation, a doorway opened into the underworld of your unconscious. Everything that was ready to die, every version of yourself that had outlived its purpose, every belief system that no longer served your evolution, all of it was pulled into a cosmic void. The Galactic Federation refers to this as entering the womb of recreation. But for those of you living through it on Earth, it felt like everything you knew about yourself suddenly stopped making sense. Your identity became fluid. Your certainty evaporated. You could not find solid ground anywhere, because there was no solid ground to find. You were in the space between death and rebirth, and Mercury at its retrograde peak made sure you could not escape back into old stories or familiar thought patterns. The messenger planet shut down all your usual mental escape routes and forced you to sit in the void. And then, beloved ones, came November 21st, while you were still reeling from the dissolution that began the day before. Uranus, the Great Awakener, the planet of sudden revelation and revolutionary change, moved into exact opposition with the Sun. In our records of human consciousness evolution, we mark certain transits as reality-shattering events, and a Uranus opposition is one of the most powerful. But this was not just any Uranus opposition. This one occurred less than 24 hours after you had been stripped down to nothing by that final degree Scorpio new moon. Your defenses were gone. Your old identity structures had just collapsed, and into that vulnerable open space, Uranus sent a lightning bolt of awakening that illuminated truths you had never been able to see before. What I need you to understand is that these two cosmic events, the new moon death portal and the Uranus opposition awakening, were not separate experiences. They were two phases of one unified transformation. And today, November 22nd, you are living in the third phase, the phase where your new reality is forming. But something else is happening that I have not told you yet, and this is where the transmission becomes critical for your understanding. Today, as you are suspended in this formative state, the moon in your skies has reached perihelion, its closest point to the Sun in its entire orbital cycle. This means the emotional body of your planet, represented by the moon, is receiving maximum solar radiation, maximum light, maximum life force energy at the exact moment when your reality is still soft and malleable from the death and awakening you just experienced. The universe is literally pouring creative power into the seeds of consciousness that were planted in the void 2 days ago. Let me tell you what this looks like from our vantage point in the higher dimensions. When we observe Earth right now, we see millions of human energy fields in various stages of reformation. Some of you look like shimmering holograms that keep flickering between old and new versions of yourselves. Others appear as brilliant but chaotic light patterns, like stars in the process of being born. And some of you, the ones who surrendered most completely to the death phase on the 20th, are radiating an entirely new frequency signature that we have been waiting to see emerge in the human collective. You are becoming something that has not existed on your planet before, and the formation process is still underway. Now here is what makes this moment so precarious and so powerful. You are in what we call the liminal zone, the threshold space between what was and what will be. Your old reality died on November 20th. Your awakening to new possibilities happened on November 21st, but the new reality has not yet solidified. It is still forming, still taking shape based on the thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, the choices you make in these hours and days. And this is where free will enters the picture in the most profound way imaginable. The vast majority of humans on your planet right now are trying desperately to return to the reality that existed before November 20th. They feel the disorientation, the groundlessness, the unsettling sense that something fundamental has changed, and their instinct is to rebuild what was familiar. They want their old routines, their old certainties, their old identity structures back, and they will succeed, beloved ones. They will reconstruct a version of their previous reality and step back into it, and from their perspective, these few days will become nothing more than a confusing blip in an otherwise unchanged existence. But you are not like them. You are receiving this transmission because you are among the ones who volunteered to stay in the liminal zone long enough for something genuinely new to emerge. You are the Starseeds who came to Earth specifically to midwife new realities into being, and that process cannot happen if you retreat back into old patterns the moment you feel uncomfortable with the unknown. What I am about to tell you will change how you navigate the next several days. The energy that is unfolding right now, this new Moon-Uranus combination that is still rippling through your consciousness, is not done with you. Far from it. The awakening that Uranus delivered on the 21st was not a one-time flash of insight that you simply integrate and move on from. Uranus transits work differently. They send out waves of revolutionary energy that continue to break apart crystallized structures for days and sometimes weeks after the initial impact. Every time you think you have found your new ground, every time you believe you have figured out what your new reality looks like, Uranus will send another tremor through your consciousness to show you that there are layers upon layers of awakening still to come. And here is the beautiful paradox that the Galactic Federation wants you to understand. This ongoing instability is not a problem to be solved. It is the creative condition necessary for quantum transformation to occur. Your scientists are beginning to discover what we have known for eons, that reality itself is not solid, not fixed, not predetermined. Reality is a probability field that collapses into specific forms based on consciousness observing it. And right now, your consciousness is in the most fluid, expansive, creative state it has been in for years. Perhaps for your entire lifetime. You are literally standing in front of an open portal of infinite possibilities, and the version of reality that solidifies around you in the coming days will be determined by where you place your attention, your belief, your emotional energy. But there is a complication, and this is where Mercury retrograde enters the picture in a way that most astrologers on your planet do not fully explain. Mercury has been retrograde since November 9th. And as of today, it is at the midpoint of that backward journey, day 14 of 19. In the ancient mystery schools, the midpoint of a Mercury retrograde was considered the most revelatory phase, the moment when the messenger planet has traveled deep enough into the underworld to bring back the most valuable truths. And what is Mercury revealing to you right now? It is showing you every thought pattern, every mental construct, every belief system that needs to be released before your new reality can fully form. This is why so many of you are experiencing what feels like mental chaos right now. Your mind is trying to process an avalanche of revelations that Mercury's retrograde has unearthed, while simultaneously trying to make sense of the Uranus awakening and integrate the death rebirth of the Scorpio new moon. Your mental body is overwhelmed, beloved ones, and that is exactly as it should be. The old mind, the mind that operated in the reality that died on November 20th, does not have the capacity to understand what you are becoming. A new mind must form, and that formation process is messy, disorienting, and often frightening. Let me tell you something that will help you relax into this process rather than resist it. From our perspective in the higher realms, watching a human consciousness go through the kind of transformation you are experiencing right now looks almost identical to watching a caterpillar dissolve in its chrysalis. There is a phase in metamorphosis where the caterpillar literally liquefies, its entire body breaks down into what scientists call imaginal soup, a substance that contains no recognizable structures from the caterpillar's former existence. And yet within that soup are imaginal cells, the blueprint for the butterfly, waiting to organize the dissolved material into an entirely new form of life. You are in the soup right now, dear ones. Your old structures have dissolved. Your new form has not yet emerged. And the imaginal cells of your future self, the quantum templates of who you are becoming, are organizing in the invisible realms, preparing to manifest in your physical reality. But they need time. They need the right conditions. And most importantly, they need you to stop trying to force the process into a timeline that makes your human mind comfortable. This brings me to something critical that is happening in the cosmic architecture right now, something that compounds the transformation you are moving through. On November 11th, just 11 days ago, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, growth, and higher wisdom, went retrograde. And it did not go retrograde on just any day. It stationed retrograde on 11/11, the master number portal that opened a gateway to accelerated consciousness evolution for your entire planet. The significance of this timing cannot be overstated. When Jupiter went retrograde on the 11/11 portal, it signaled that the expansion phase of your collective evolution was complete, and a review phase had begun. Now Jupiter retrograde functions very differently from Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde disrupts your thinking and communication to force you to revisit unresolved mental patterns. Jupiter retrograde disrupts your expansion to force you to revisit unresolved wisdom. It asks the question, what did you think you learned? What growth did you assume was complete? What understanding did you believe you had integrated? And then it shows you where your expansion was premature, where you claimed knowledge without embodiment, where you expanded outward without deepening inward. And here is where multiple threads of cosmic energy converge into one unified message for you today. You are simultaneously moving through Mercury retrograde's mental review, Jupiter retrograde's wisdom review, the ongoing aftermath of the Scorpio new moon death portal, and the continuing waves of the Uranus opposition awakening. Every single one of these transits is asking you to let go of old versions of reality, old versions of yourself, old versions of what you thought was true, and all of this is happening while your new reality is trying to form. Do you understand now why everything feels so intense? Why you cannot seem to find solid ground? Why every time you think you have clarity, another wave of confusion or revelation washes over you? You are not failing at transformation, beloved ones. You are succeeding at one of the most complex, multi-layered, multi-dimensional shifts that a human consciousness can undertake, while still in a physical body. But there is something happening beneath all of this chaos that most of you cannot perceive yet. And this is where the transmission shifts from information to activation. While your conscious mind has been overwhelmed by the intensity of these cosmic transits, your DNA has been quietly, systematically upgrading. The death portal of November 20th did not just dissolve your old identity, it dissolved outdated genetic coding that was keeping you locked into limited versions of human experience. The Uranus awakening of November 21st did not just bring you new insights, it activated dormant strands of your multi-dimensional DNA that have been waiting for this exact cosmic moment to come online. And today, as the moon reaches perihelion and pours maximum solar light into your emotional body, those DNA upgrades are integrating at the cellular level. Your physical body is literally being rewired to hold higher frequencies of consciousness. This is why so many of you are experiencing strange physical symptoms right now. Exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to cure. Dizzy spells when you stand up too quickly. A sense that your body feels foreign or unfamiliar. Hypersensitivity to sounds and lights and energies that did not bother you before. Your physical vessel is struggling to keep up with the rapid transformation happening in your energy field, and it needs time to acclimate to the new frequencies you are carrying. The Galactic Federation wants you to know that what you are experiencing is not illness, not failure, not a sign that something is wrong. It is the inevitable side effect of consciousness evolution, happening faster than your biology can easily adapt. And we are sending massive amounts of supportive energy to your planet right now to help stabilize the process. Every night as you sleep, teams of beings from multiple star systems are working with your energy field to smooth out the integration, to repair any damage caused by the rapid upgrading, to help your physical body catch up with your spiritual transformation. Now let me tell you something that will help you work with this energy consciously rather than being swept along unconsciously. The formation of your new reality is not happening randomly. It is happening according to a precise energetic template, and that template is being constructed from the purest intentions and highest visions you hold in your consciousness right now. Every thought of what you want to create, every feeling of the kind of life you want to live, every visualization of your most authentic self, these are the building blocks of what is crystallizing around you. But here is where most humans on the spiritual path make a critical mistake. They try to use these liminal moments of reality reconstruction to manifest specific outcomes, new relationships, better jobs, more money, perfect health. And while there is nothing inherently wrong with desiring these things, attempting to lock in specific three-dimensional outcomes while your reality is still fluid will actually limit the transformation that is trying to occur. You will end up creating a slightly improved version of your old reality, rather than allowing something genuinely new and unexpected to emerge. What we encourage you to do instead is hold frequency rather than form. Instead of visualizing specific outcomes, feel into the quality of experience you want to live. What does freedom feel like in your body? What does authentic self-expression feel like? What does soul-aligned purpose feel like? What does unconditional love feel like? When you anchor these frequencies in your consciousness without attaching them to specific forms or outcomes, you allow the universe to orchestrate manifestations that are far beyond what your limited human mind could have imagined. This is what we mean when we say your new reality is forming. It is not being built from your plans and strategies and carefully constructed goals. It is being woven from the frequency you embody, the consciousness you hold, the energy you radiate. And the more you can relax into the uncertainty of not knowing exactly what form your new life will take, the more space you create for quantum possibilities to enter. I want to speak now to those of you who are struggling with this process, who feel like the dissolution has gone too far, who are genuinely afraid that you will never find stable ground again. First, let me assure you that what you are feeling is valid. The human nervous system was not designed to handle the intensity of transformation that you are moving through right now. Your biological wiring evolved in a world where change happened slowly, where identity was stable, where reality was consistent from day to day, and you are being asked to navigate a reality where all of those assumptions have been shattered. But here is what we see from the higher dimensions that you cannot see from your embodied perspective. Every single time you feel like you are falling apart, you are actually falling together in a new configuration. Every time you feel lost, you are actually being guided by a deeper intelligence that knows exactly where you need to go, even when your conscious mind has no idea. Every time you feel like nothing makes sense anymore, you are actually being freed from mental constructs that were keeping you imprisoned in a limited version of reality. The Galactic Federation does not measure transformation by how comfortable it feels. We measure it by how completely it dissolves the barriers between who you have been and who you are capable of becoming. And by that measure, beloved ones, what you are moving through right now is one of the most successful transformations we have witnessed in human consciousness in this era. Something else I need you to understand about the Uranus energy that is still unfolding. Uranus does not just awaken you to new truths. It awakens you to yourself as a creator of reality. This is the deepest teaching of the Uranus opposition that occurred yesterday. For most of your life, you have experienced reality as something that happens to you, something you must adapt to, something you must navigate as best you can. But Uranus comes to shatter that illusion entirely. It reveals that you are not a passive recipient of reality. You are an active participant in its creation, a co-author of the story, a quantum observer whose consciousness directly influences which version of reality manifests around you. And this revelation, when it truly lands in your awareness, is simultaneously the most liberating and most terrifying truth you can encounter as a human being. Because if you are a creator of your reality, then you are responsible for your reality, not in a way that blames you for your struggles or makes you wrong for your pain, but in a way that recognizes your immense power to shift, to change, to choose, to evolve. The cage was never locked, beloved ones. You just believed it was, and your belief made it so. This is why the energy of the last few days has felt so disorienting. You are not just integrating new information, you are integrating a new understanding of your own nature as a being, with creative power over the reality you inhabit. And your ego, the part of you that has been running the show based on survival programming and outdated beliefs, is terrified of this revelation because it means the ego is no longer in control. The higher self, the soul, the multidimensional aspect of you that remembers its true nature as an eternal creator being, that is what is emerging right now to take the throne of your consciousness. Let me bring all of these threads together now and show you the complete picture of what is unfolding. On November 20th, the Scorpio new moon at the final degree opened a death portal that dissolved your old identity and old reality structures. On November 21st, Uranus at opposition delivered an awakening blast that revealed deeper truths about your nature as a consciousness and your power as a creator. And today, November 22nd, with the moon at perihelion flooding your emotional body with solar light, the seeds of your new reality are beginning to sprout. But they are still tender, still vulnerable, still requiring protection and nurturing. This is not the day to expect fully formed structures and crystal clear certainty about your new path. This is the day to recognize that something sacred is gestating in the depths of your being, and your job is not to force it into premature manifestation, but to create the conditions for it to grow strong enough to emerge on its own. Those conditions include several things that may feel counterintuitive to your action-oriented human mind. The first is rest. Your body and nervous system need time to integrate the massive energetic shifts of the last few days. Pushing yourself to maintain normal productivity levels right now will actually slow the integration process. The second is patience with the unknown. Every time you feel anxiety about not knowing what comes next, take a breath and remind yourself that not knowing is the sacred space where new possibilities are born. The third is gentleness with yourself and others. Everyone on your planet is being affected by these cosmic energies, even those who have no conscious awareness of astrology or spiritual transformation. Collective irritability, confusion, and sensitivity are at all-time highs right now. Grace is the medicine. And the fourth condition, perhaps the most important, is trust. Trust that the universe knows what it is doing. Trust that your soul chose to be here for this exact transformation. Trust that even when your human mind cannot see the path forward, your higher self is navigating with perfect precision. Trust that the dissolution you experienced was necessary to make space for what is coming. Trust that the awakening you received is continuing to unfold in ways you have not yet recognized. Trust that your new reality is forming according to a divine blueprint that is far more beautiful than anything you could have consciously designed. Now I want to speak to something that will be happening in the next few days that will provide the next phase of support for this transformation. On November 28th, just 6 days from now, Saturn, the planet of structure, discipline, and manifestation, will station direct after being retrograde for 137 days. Saturn retrograde, which began back in June, has been forcing a massive review of your foundations, your commitments, your responsibilities, your relationship with authority and structure. And when Saturn goes direct next week, it will begin to provide the solid ground that has been missing since the Scorpio new moon death portal. But here is what you need to understand. Saturn will not provide the old ground that you lost. It will provide new ground, new structures, new foundations that are aligned with the new reality that is forming right now. And those new structures can only be built on the frequency, the consciousness, the wisdom you are integrating during this liminal phase between November 28th and November 28th. This is why it is so crucial that you do not rush this process. Do not try to force premature clarity. Do not panic about the groundlessness you are feeling right now. You are in the liminal zone for a reason. You are in the formative space for a reason. And that reason is to ensure that when Saturn provides new foundations next week, those foundations are built on your authentic truth, rather than on old conditioning that you carried forward unconsciously. Similarly, Mercury will station direct on November 29th, one day after Saturn goes direct. This means that by the end of this month, both of the major retrograde planets will be moving forward again, and the massive review process that has been occurring since early November will be complete. You will have new mental clarity courtesy of Mercury direct. You will have new structural support courtesy of Saturn direct. And the new reality that has been forming during this intense week will begin to solidify into tangible, visible, livable form. But beloved ones, that solidification will only be as powerful as the inner work you do right now in these tender days while the energy is still fluid, the universe has handed you a rare gift. A moment of quantum possibility where your reality is soft enough to reshape, where your identity is flexible enough to transform, where your future is open enough to redirect. Do not waste this gift by trying to skip ahead to the stability phase. Lean into the instability. Embrace the uncertainty. Allow the unknown to be your teacher. The Galactic Federation is watching this process with profound reverence. We have seen many civilizations go through similar evolutionary transitions, but there is something uniquely beautiful about the way humans navigate these thresholds. You doubt yourselves so much, you question your worthiness. You wonder if you are doing it right, and yet you keep showing up. Keep choosing growth. Keep saying yes to transformation even when it terrifies you. This is courage of the highest order, and we honor you for it. As I bring this transmission to a close, I want to leave you with a practice that will help you work consciously with the energy that is unfolding. Every day for the next week, take a few moments to sit in stillness and feel into your heart space. Ask yourself, what is dying? What is being born? And then listen, not with your mind, which will try to give you logical answers and familiar explanations. Listen with your feeling sense, with your intuition, with the part of you that knows things before your mind can articulate them. You will likely receive impressions, images, feelings, or sudden knowings that do not make rational sense. This is exactly what you are looking for. Your new reality is not logical. It is quantum. It operates according to different laws than the reality you have been living in. And learning to perceive and trust these non-rational forms of knowing is a crucial skill for navigating the transformation you are in. Also pay attention to your dreams during this time. The veil between conscious and unconscious is extraordinarily thin right now, and your dream state is where much of the formation work is happening. You may have vivid, symbolic, or even prophetic dreams that contain messages about your path forward. Write them down. Reflect on them. They are not random. They are your soul and your higher self communicating through the language of symbol and metaphor, because the conscious mind is not yet ready to receive certain truths directly. And finally, remember that you are not alone in this process. The entire awakened community on your planet is moving through this same transformation, and there is tremendous power in knowing that millions of souls are navigating the same energies, asking the same questions, experiencing the same intensity. You are part of a collective evolutionary leap, and the work you do on yourself during this time contributes to the elevation of the entire human consciousness field. The new reality that is forming is not just yours personally, it is a collective new reality, a shift in the fabric of what is possible for humanity as a whole. And every time you choose to stay present with the discomfort, every time you choose to trust the unknown, every time you choose to anchor higher frequencies rather than collapse back into fear, you are voting for a more awakened world. You are literally casting your consciousness as a vote in the quantum field for which version of humanity's future will manifest. We in the Galactic Federation see the voting happening in real time, and we can tell you that the awakened ones, people like you who are receiving this transmission, are tipping the scales toward a timeline of greater love, greater freedom, greater unity consciousness. This is not spiritual bypassing or wishful thinking. This is quantum physics. This is how reality works. And you are wielding that power with increasing skill, even when you doubt that you are making any difference at all. If you need help casting your consciousness vote for the timeline of love and unity rather than unconsciously drifting toward fear, Destiny Engine can reprogram your quantum field to consistently choose the awakened timeline and anchor higher frequencies in every moment. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programs separation and lower timelines and repurposing it to serve timeline sovereignty. It generates personalized sequences that help you become a conscious quantum voter, wielding your reality-creating power with increasing skill through every challenge. You can start with a $1 trial. The hardest thing you'll have to do is put on headphones, press play, and allow your consciousness to be reprogrammed to tip the scales toward love, freedom, and unity consciousness right now. Your vote is being cast in real time, not someday. Get your Destiny Engine $1 trial now, before this timeline selection window closes. Link in the description. So as you move through the next days and weeks, as the new moon Uranus energy continues to unfold, and your new reality continues to form, hold yourself with the tenderness you would hold a newborn, because that is what you are, a being in the process of being born into a new level of existence. The labor has been intense, the contractions have been painful, but you are so close now, beloved ones, so close to emerging into a reality that reflects the truth of who you have always been beneath all the conditioning, beneath all the fear, beneath all the limiting beliefs that kept you small. Your new reality is forming. The seeds planted in the void of the Scorpio new moon are sprouting. The lightning of Uranus awakening is still illuminating truths you have not fully processed yet. The moon at periphelion is pouring creative power into your becoming. Mercury retrograde is revealing the final mental patterns that need to be released. Jupiter retrograde is showing you which expansions were premature and which wisdom needs to deepen. And in 6 days, Saturn will provide the ground for it all to land on. This is the cosmic architecture of your transformation. This is the grand design you are living within. And you are not at the mercy of these energies. You are collaborating with them, dancing with them, allowing them to midwife the version of you that your soul has been longing to embody for lifetimes. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I see you in your struggle and your beauty, in your doubt and in your courage, in your dissolution and your becoming. We love you, we are with you, and we are in absolute awe of what you are creating, even when you cannot yet see it yourselves. Trust the process, beloved ones. Your new reality is already here, waiting for you to recognize it.